Hello guys, welcome to CS Tech Solution. Today's is learn as data analytics. Part 4 is duplicate data. A duplicate data is a common as a data's qualities problems and where as some informations or as records as appears more than once. And this the module is explain how to identify, understand, remove and the relevant duplicate data. First, what is a duplicate data? Duplicate data is occurs then some record or the information is stored multiple times and then it should as normally as appears only once. And the example, customers IDs, names and the cities has to give and such use data as a two times has to print. So as a duplicate data and the as a C001 customer IDs is a record as appear as a twice and problems is case by as a duplicate data can as increase the record counts and as produce the incorrect totals as distort statistics as effort report and increase the storage and case as incorrect customers count and affect the data's analysis. Fourth, as a second is identifying the duplicates. As identifying the duplicate means as a finding the record or the values and that as appears more than once as a unnecessarials. And the commons method as compare the unique ID and compare the complete rows and as compare the selected columns and use the separate as a spreadsheet duplicate detection and use the SQL queries and use the Python in as pandas and use as a database constraint. Anyone has to use and find and identify the duplicates records. And for the example, as ID names and the emails has to give, and 101 IDs is as appear as twice. So as a two times has to repeat and indicating as a possible duplicates record and the importance as repeated values does not allow mean as a duplicate and for the example as a duplicate values in two times has to print and the cities has to change, so this may be as two different peoples as a cities is different, so as this the people as a different but all the data is repeated as the same in such as 101 IDs as two times and such use the names and the email as both the rows uh, sorry both the rows has the same record, so this the may be as two different peoples and therefore the duplicate detection should as use the appropriate identifying the field, so all the field is the same, so as this is the duplicate record but as the city's name is changed, so this the record is not a duplicate. Third is a duplicate record. As a duplicate record is as the record that has a present same real world entities more than once. And for the example, as the customer ID, name, emails, and the phone number has to give, but as C101's record as two times has to print. So the first and the third record is represent a same customer and a common duplicates record as a duplicate customers as a duplicate employee duplicate products as a duplicate suppliers and the duplicate transactions. And fourth is a duplicate rows. Duplicate rows is occurs then the two or the more rows as constraints extractly same values as across the relevant columns and as one example is names age and cities has to give and such use data as a 2 times print and rows inside as all the values as to same. So the first and the third record is identical and full rows as duplicate. So the every columns is constrained as the same value. Like this the example as all the columns has to give like a same values, and particulars duplicates as some importance identifying the field are as the same but as other field may be as a differ, and from this the examples, and as the names is same but names and email is also as same but cities as the different, and this the required as investigations rather than the automatically as a deletings of one row. And the fifth is a case of the duplicate data is duplicate data can as occurs for as many reasons, like common cases as repeated data entry as multiples forms of submission, as important as same files is more than once, as combining the data set database migrations, as systems synchronizations problem, as lacks of unique identifiers, as copy and the paste errors, and the customers registrations is more than once, and the investigation sorry integrations between as different systems, and example system sorry as a customers is submit online registration forms as a twice as a two time, and because as the first submission as appears as unsuccessful, both as a submissions may as a create as a duplicate record. 6 is removing the duplicates, as after the identifying the duplicates as unnecessary record are as can be as removed, and the general process first as the identify, review, confirm, remove and the verify, and the important as do not immediately as delete every repeated records. First as determines is it really as duplicate, which the record should be as kept, and is one record is more as complete, and does one record is contains neighbors information, and are both the records is legitimate as transactions. And for the examples as id names emails and the update is to gives, but as all the data is same but update date as a different, first is January 2060 and 2026, and second is August 2026, and if these are the duplicate customers record is neighbors more than as complete the record may be as retain the according to as business rules. And excel to use as excel is provide the remove the duplicates to identify and the remove the duplicate rows is based on the selected columns, and write the sql queries sql inside as a duplicate can be as a identified using as a group by as a count function, and row underscore numbers function, and as partitions by function, and one example as select and emails and commas as the count counts inside as a star, and the counts close as a total, and is a alias names is total, and from as a customers, and as a group by function is to use, and group by and the email, and having the count counts inside as a star, and the counts close and as a greater than as 1 and a semicolon, and this the queries to identify as email address as appearing the more than once. And seventh is preventing a duplicate data, as preventing a duplicates is better than the repeatedly as cleaning them later. And the common preventing methods like first is use the unique identifiers. Explanation as use the unique ID such as customers underscore ID colon, and so that the customers can be as uniquely identified. And second is use the database constraint, as use the database rules such as uniques and as a constraint to as prevent duplicates values in as the important field. And validate input, as check the whether a record as already as exist as before the inserting a new records into the system. And fourth is avoided repeated import, sorry, as avoid repeated imports, as track the imported files and the data source to as prevent same data from as begins to the important as multiple times. And fifth is use the standardized process, as create clear and the constraints rules for as entering, updating and managing the data. And six is use the duplicate detection, as automatically is checked for as possible the duplicate record and during the data's connections or as entry. And seventh is trained data entries users, as train the users to enter, update and manage the records is correctly to as reduce the duplicate data. And overall examples in the duplicate data cleaning. First is give the table like customers IDs, names, email and the city. Inside as one record as two times has to print. So as before the cleanings, as first steps is identifying, as C001 is appears as a twice. And second step is verify, as compare and the customers IDs, names, email and the cities. So all the values is the match, as same of the customers IDs and names and the emails and the city, all the values is same. And step 3 is a remove the unnecessary the duplicate. And after the cleanings, as a customer's ID as a third record as same, so as a third record is remove. And after all the validate data has to print. And step 4 is a verify, and the original record as a 4 and a duplicate record as remove, as one record is remove. And after as a clean the record, as a 3 record has to show in after the cleaning tables. Thank you guys to watch the videos. Please subscribe the channel, on the notification and bell icon.